And pleasant good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Maritime Matters. I am your host, Captain Glenn Bain. Tonight we will discuss various hot topics, such as the Disney teams up with BTVI for Eleuthera expansion. So we got that Disney crew at Lighthouse Point at the very southeastern tip of Eleuthera to provide and make opportunity for Bahamians to be fully engaged. The BTVI has shaken hand or partnered with Disney to ensure that, we got people all set and good to go, and we could take up opportunities on just about anything that is necessary in that project. And thereafter, as far as maintenance of the Lighthouse Point is concerned. We're going to speak about Atlantis. They're saying that the Royal Caribbean Paradise Island Beach Club is packing a lot of people. That 3,500 passengers that Royal Caribbean International wants to funnel or channel or persuade to go to the beach house that is slated to be built on the western end of Paradise Island. Atlantis thinks, that's a little much to be packed into that little area. We're going to talk about that some more. The former Minister of Tourism and Aviation, Mr. Dionisio Diagla, he said he supports the Royal Caribbean International, or RCI's $110 million project over Paradise Island. So he says, Atlanta's got little issues, but I support that. Now, this is coming from a former Minister of Tourism who really have a good feel for how we want to develop tourism in this country. We're going to talk about the USS Nimitz. Anybody ever heard about the USS Nimitz? I heard about them from 1981 when I went to Dartmouth to train to become a naval officer. We had to learn about the USS Nimitz. This is an aircraft carrier that is basically a floating airport. It has a hangars where it got different types of warplanes, got a runway, and all of us who watched Top Gun with Tom Cruise, we would have seen airplanes take off and land on an aircraft carrier. So the USS Nimitz was built many years ago, over 50 years ago. And after 50 years, they want to decommission her. But what does that take? Because when you got an aircraft carrier that is nuclear powered, you got 2 nuclear reactors in the ship. How are they going to deal with that nuclear? Because if any of that escape, plenty people could die. And that is the carefulness that has to be, if that's a word, that have to be taken when you are decommissioning, scrapping these sorts of ships. A regular ship up there is not nuclear powered. We have nuclear powered aircraft carriers, and Russia had a nuclear powered destroyer that she's just scrapping. And of course, we have a variety of nuclear powered submarines owned by the US, Russia, Great Britain. I don't know if Great Britain owned any nuclear powered submarine, but I'm sure it is likely that they probably do. But anyway, we're not here to this. We're going to talk about the USS Nimitz. So please, be sure to stay tuned as we delve deep into these discussions on Maritime Matters. Give a shout out to my Annie Mae. Annie Mae, you up there in Freeport, I understand you're in Bellorian. They take you by Margot tonight. And make sure Margot put that TV on channel 951 so that you can hear your boy carrying on. I know you love the show. You're one of my biggest supporters, so I want you to be able to hear this. Margot, please, make sure Annie Mae is in a position where she can listen to Maritime Matters. Our sponsors for the night show are One-on-One Pharmacy. Same old. My good old friends, my good old family, cousin, Shantia McBride and her good team of pharmacists and caretakers and even got a doctor up in Freeport at our new location. So one pharmacy is located on East Street South, the next one on Charles Sanders Highway, and then just across the road from the Region Center where the Scotia Bank and a couple other entities just across directly across the street is Island Care. I think that's the name, Island Care. If I get it wrong, Shani can screw me up. So Shani, I think it's Island Care. I get it right? Okay, Island Care is the third one. Open up in Freeport, and they got all of what you want. You can order your prescription online at oneononepharmacy.com, or of course, you could just go into the store and let them know Maritime Matters sent you. That way you get extra treatment. We are also sponsored by Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited. We provide a full suite of ISPS maritime security services, and you know what that means. We do assessments, we do plans, we do audits in port security, we do training, we do consultancy services. So anytime you need something to do with port security, check Bahamas Maritime Connection out, and we will find a way to assist you. I go no further tonight, people, without introducing my great arm, my helper, the fellow who got my back. You know, I always late, and he always makes sure I come out right out the gate. So my producer for the night, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce him to you again, the insatiable, the man of the hour, the man with all the power, fully able, quite capable, the one and only Mr. Craig Gibson, and he salutes the crowd, ladies and gentlemen. Well, look here, we talking maritime, we also talking military, because when we get Craig in the camera like that, boy, this could be a military night tonight. You are listening to Maritime Matters, people. On this show, we talk maritime. Maritime Matter airs weekly at 19:30, that's 7:30 p.m. every Tuesday here on Love 97. The purpose of our show is to highlight persons that made significant contributions to the maritime sector in the Bahamas. Also to sensitize Bahamians of opportunities in the maritime sector. And finally, we cover current maritime issues from the domestic perspective and also little international feeds. Now we got like 10 or 12 of those international feeds this week, but guess what? We only bring in one to you tonight. We can talk about the USS Nimitz. Halfway through the show, we will open the phone lines. Number to call, and I know you all know this, but I can give it to you anyhow. That's 326-8255. Again, the number to call will be 326-8255. Again, as always, we want to highlight our maritime standouts, our heroes, blast from the past in maritime, people who were household names, people who we should never forget. And we're still seeking new heroes. In the meantime, we got the port controller extraordinaire, the all-time best port controller to pass this way so far, Mr. Leon Flowers. Sloop sailing pioneer, the great, the one and only, legendary Captain Raleigh Gray. The sloop sailing, the star class Olympic champions. You know, to win a medal in Olympics ain't easy. We have not won any medal in Olympic outside of track and field, except for this one. Our Olympic sailing champs from back in the 50s. So you know if it's hard to do it now, you can imagine back then. But Mr. Cecil Cook and Sir David Knowles decided to win gold. And as always, for that, we ought to salute them. Next show will be in May. And as we approach May 10th, people, you all know the deal just like me. Our most important heroes in maritime has to be, hands down, in the spirit of the HMBS Flamingo crew. As you know, we lost 4 of our seafarers during the impact of that incident. And those are the 4 that we decided we're going to surround that Coral Harbor roundabout with their names. Fenwick Stirrup, Austin Smith, David Tucker, and Edward Williams. Each one of them will have a street in their name, in their honor, moving away from that roundabout. And then we got some other streets to put some names of the other men that were on board that ill-fated HMBS Flamingo when the Cuban MiGs decided that they could play wartime in a peacetime situation and use missiles and rockets to sink our 2-year-old, nice spanking brand new, largest patrol boat we had at the time, the 103-foot HMBS Flamingo. Subsequent to that incident, we lost another 4 in the names of Wilfred Sands, Oscar Miller, Leopold Kirby, and Amos Roll. And as we know, they were all special to us. And may all of those 8 souls continue to rest in peace. Now, people, we have 11 still among us today. And they're not doing very well. Some of them are doing just cool. In fact, some of them are doing very well. You know, they carry that burden of being attacked and being faced with death by rockets and gunfires while they swam in the water for life. And never once have they received any compensation for what they went through. They were not trained to deal with this type of thing, you know. They were not even properly consulted. But 11 of them are still here. And we see them from day to day and just take them for granted. Oh, that's only so-and-so. That's only... Oh, come on, people. Hug these guys, man. Shake their hands. Hey, thank you, man. Hey, one day, 100 years from now, you know what people will be saying? When they're riding on those streets. And Anthony Allen's, we're going to name one of our most prominent streets behind Anthony Allen's, Amos Roll. But Anthony Allen's, the 3 officers on board that ship were Amos Roll, Anthony Allen's, and Wilfred Coolby Sands. And we got to name 3 of our most driven streets behind those 3, eh? I'm looking at Blue Hill Road, East Street, and Market Street, as they used to call it back in the day, Farm Road. No reason why those 3 streets could not be named. Listen to the name today. Market Street, East Street, Blue Hill Road. Come on, man. Let's put some real names on those roads. Then we got Peterson James and Gregory Curry, Denzel Clark, Trevor Sands, John Wallace, the great Whitfield Neely, Willard Sanders, Anthony Russell, Eugene Bloom Thompson, and of course Cladwell, the buck rider Farrington. These men are still with us. We need a street behind each one of them. We hear them called Mackey Street. Why that can't be John Wallace Street? You know, it's like Wolf Road. No, Wolf Road is all right. I have no problem with Wolf Road. But that could be Whitfield Neely Road. And when people ride on these streets and they gotta call the name of these streets to give people directions, these brothers' name will never die. And we don't need them to die. What they went through, none of us will never go through. What they went through, nobody, probably in the entire Caribbean, have ever gone through. We ain't give them nothing yet. Real recognition? Come on, man. Yes, they should have big recognition. They should also have big bucks to compensate them for what they went through. And I ain't stopping. We need to make it happen. Mr. Government, moving forward, we need to make it happen. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to move into some of our local maritime feeds, eh? We talk about Disney teaming up with BTVI to expand the Luthra Bahamian job opportunities. We talked a few shows ago I think we got a line. Okay. Let me just take this call before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm going to now, start diving into our local maritime issues that are in the press. But we got a call on the line, and I would very much like to hear what our caller has to say. Good night to you, caller. Welcome to Maritime Matters.
Good night, Captain Ben, and good night to the Bahamas.
Good night, sir.
Yeah, remember A.K. Russell was a part of that crew also.
Yes, I said Anthony Russell.
Okay, well, I met him. I just came inside to listen to your talk show.
Yeah, I did say Anthony Russell. AK is my boy. He was trying to teach me how to shoot pool, but I never learned.
Listen, I have another issue. Right out there, as you go around, I go slow off in the Providence, looking at Bahamas.
Right.
There was a barge that is sank over the reef. What are they doing with that?
Yeah, we discussed that in a couple shows in the past. That barge probably was a barge, because we have a lot of barges that mine sand and around the harbor area. That probably was one of those barges that break away in rough weather, and just lost control, or the tug that was pulling it might have lost control. I don't know the details, but it appeared to me like that just ended up there in rough weather. And where that barge is located is it's like a reefy, shallow area. So it's not in the way of it. Any vessel that's going to go near that barge is going to run aground.
But wouldn't that damage the reef? Would it there? That's
again, we talk about damaging the reef, and then we say if you try to move it, it may cause more damage.
But the ship you move.
Well, how are you going to move it?
What do you mean? The ship should have insurance and everything.
Yeah, no. But how are you going to move a barge off a very shallow area? You need it. It's going to take a lot of damaging the area to drag it off. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not easy. You can't just lift it up.
There should be some way to move it.
Yeah, you could move it. But I'm saying, if you go around the world, you will see wrecks. If you go around Bimini, you will see a wreck that was there from, I think, in the 20s or 30s.
Yeah,
right?
The concrete ship.
Yeah. That's never going to move.
Yeah, well,
so it's a reason why they're not going to move.
No, I was time. You shouldn't have this kind of things, man. Just tighten up the ship, man. Well,
I would say to you, caller, I agree to some extent that when we have a situation, I mean, we got vessels on Porter's Key that is on the ground that really shouldn't be there. I mean, they're right next to the dock, and we ain't got them up yet.
And with maritime affairs, we need to clean it up. Laws and regulations need to clean it up. We shouldn't be littering our marine life like that.
You're not going to get any kickback from me on that, my brother. I appreciate the call, and I agree with you. But as far as the authorities doing what they have to do when it comes to cleaning up these wrecks I have not been one to go in favor of having confidence in those things happening on a timely basis. But
regulate.
Yeah, the regulations are extremely poor. Not only in the maritime area, just generally in all of our acts. But I agree with you. It should have been gone a long time ago. Whether it's going to be moved or not, I don't have much confidence in seeing that move anytime soon. And like I say, because we got vessels straight at Porter's Key Dock that are sunken, and ain't nothing happened to them. I think attempts is made to move one.
Moving forward, we got to clean it up.
Right, boy, we got plenty of cleaning up to do. There's a lot of slackness going on around town.
We have to start with one step.
I agree with you, my friend. Thank you so much for the call. Any other points you want to bring up? But we ain't moving to nothing else yet.
This old guy, when you ain't get the voice, but this old time comrade.
I think I know who this is, but I don't want to say because I may be wrong. But
don't worry, we'll link up on that.
Indeed, my brother. Thank you so much for calling, man.
I'll continue and listen to the show.
I appreciate that, man. Take care of yourself.
All right.
Roger. Wonderful call. Wonderful call, because we're talking about compliance of our local authorities with the regulations. We have a receiver of Rex, who's the port controller. We have a Port Authority Act that speaks to Rex. We have an act that deals with the regulation of Porter's Key Dock. That's the Port Authorities Act again. And a lot of things are not being done. And again, we could have a whole show on that. I've had shows on the slackness in our authorities and in addressing or enforcing what is on the books. Not only in the maritime area, but generally. We just a group of slack people when it comes to enforcement of our laws, eh? But we got to keep pressing on, and we got to keep calling it out and hope that someday soon it'll all be sorted out. So let's go back to Disney and the Eleuthera expansion. As far as, you know, the BTVI, the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute, has partnered with Disney Cruise Line to construct a new campus in Eleuthera for the training of its residents. So BTVI actually went to Eleuthera and put up a campus. And they put up that campus because they know that Lighthouse Point project that Disney is erecting, it's going to call for some attention, eh? Some employment that foreigners shouldn't have to come in here and do, that Eleuthera locals could be trained to do. And I think that's the idea. You don't need Nasuvians and people from Freeport with a little experience. You could prepare the local Eleutherans to deal with all of what Disney made in that area. And Disney is the first one. Because in that area, we already have, what's the name of the cruise ship stop? Princess Key. Princess Key is right in that same vicinity. And Princess Key is being taken care of by locals in South Eleuthera. Rock Sound, Green Castle, Waterford, what's the name, Deep Creek. Those are the areas where people come from. That's going to take care of Disney. They should be able to take care of Disney. They were always taking care of Princess Key, and they were always taking care of Half Moon Key. You know, Half Moon Key, it used to be Little San Salvador. That key is serviced by way of a supply vessel from Davis Harbor, Eleuthera. I know because I've been there. I've been there to do some training. I've been there to do some assessments and ISPS plans. I know how the setup is. So South Eleuthera is blessed with this massive opportunity, okay, for employment that most other family islands don't have so concentrated in one little neck of the woods. And we got a whole island of Eleuthera that people could be training at BTVI. So I give kudos to Dr. Linda Davis, my good friend. Linda, I haven't seen you for a while. You know, she was a big time national team volleyball player. I don't want y'all to think Linda easy, right? But Dr. Linda Davis is making it possible for BTVI to set up shop in South Eleuthera to provide training opportunities for locals in that area to be able to provide, and at a quality level, because you know Disney is a quality company. I can tell you. I remember when Disney made quality what it is. They were one of the first big companies to focus on quality service. So they're making it happen. Dr. Linda Davis and her BTVI team is actually setting up shop. I don't know where they're setting it up. Most likely Rock Sound, could be Green Castle, one of the major settlements in the southern side. So that the local Eleutherians they don't have to say, well, you know, I know how to do this or I know how to do it. No, you come and you learn, and you don't have to come to Nassau to go to BTVI. BTVI coming to you. You could ask for better arrangement than that. And we may slap the government here and there and everywhere, but I think this is a motive by Disney, who, of course, Disney will save a lot of money if they could get locals that they don't have to bring. You know what it is to bring in somebody and have to house them, and then you got to pay them for working? You don't want to do that unless you have to. So more power to Disney. And Disney's doing a lot of other things. You know, I want you to know Disney is helping out our local maritime institution, LJM, helping them out by sponsoring some of the students. And when the students have gone through the program, they hire them. Disney has like 4 or 5 big ships. They hire them on their ships. And they don't have to do that. But this is what Disney is when we talk about RCI and what they're doing on Paradise Island and what they're doing on Coco Key and all the rest of that. Disney is no shorter than none of these. And Carnival is going to build in Freeport. Disney's right up there with them. Disney does a lot. Thank you, Disney. Keep that up. We're going to be watching you. You know we don't like when you bring foreigners in here to be doing work with Bahamians capable of doing. So thank you, Dr. Davis. Thank you, Disney. And, you know, BDVI positioned itself to prepare those students to take employment to facilitate the Disney Lighthouse Point project and maintenance thereafter. And what sort of employment are we really talking about? I probably need to call my good friend Dr. Linda Davis and find out the details of, you know, I'm a maritime person, but I don't think Disney need any maritime services. They want nobody who could drive the ship. They may have some small boat handlers to do some tours. Well, we don't need Disney to get involved in that either, as we said earlier. But they're going to have a facility that requires maintenance, plumbing maintenance, electrical maintenance, carpentry maintenance, and these things are going to be ongoing, eh? Housekeeping, landscaping, tour guides. These are things that the BDVI could prepare people to do. And once that is done, we have a win-win situation for all. Whatever it be though, you know, we ought to be thankful. And we talk about the Carnival project up in Freeport. Maybe looking for the same thing. Maybe we could have BTVI. You remember we had University of Bahamas already right in that vicinity where Carnival going? Well, we need BTVI to be in that vicinity. Well, we already have BTVI in Grand Bahama, in Freeport. So we just need to expand on that and focus a little more and shake hands. And Dr. Linda Davis, go to Freeport, shake hands with Carnival and let them know what your needs are. We can provide. Let us know what to focus on so we can know what training to bring to the people and we can have you covered. We don't want to see nobody coming in with no work permit to work anything on the Carnival project. Unless it's something that BTVI really don't have the capacity to provide. That's how we should be rolling with this, eh? This is our country and this for us. Now if these cruise ships want to do something on the land, no. That's where we come in. That's where we come in. That's opportunities for us. What you do on your ship, well, not on you. Now we ain't mind if you take us on the ship too, now we can do that too. But don't come on land and trying to bring in other people to do what Bahamians could be prepared, trained, qualified to do. That's my view on that. So thank you, Disney, and I'm going to want to say thank you, Carnival, and I will also want to say thank you, RCI, because I've seen that we go into the RCI project next, but we're saying that I understand the RCI is only going to own 49% of that project. I don't know, I hear much details on it, but I'm hearing it. What a time. Who's going to own the next 51%? How can Bahamians get a piece of that, or is that for the Bahamians or the government and the rest of Bahamians to be able to tap into as well? I don't know. So we move on to Atlantis saying the Royal Caribbean project is packing a lot of people into that club. Oh, we got a call on line one before we move on to RCI in Atlantis, because boy, we got some talks about this one, and we've been hitting this for a little while now, but you know. We can continue to hit it. Call on the line. Welcome to Maritime Matters, and thank you so much for calling.
Yes, good night to you, Captain Glenn.
Good night to you, my dear.
The original.
Yes, Ms. Bernie. How are you, my dear?
Oh, I'm blessed now that I have gotten through to the Minister of National Security, Minister Monroe, in reference to your first caller concern.
Oh.
We have investigated solutions to address those things with draft laws, okay? Because all those wrecks that are off the islands, various islands, that impacts the rising of the sea. As you know, we are an archipelagic nation.
That is correct.
And we do have ways and means to cause the law to be drafted, and I commended him as not favoring up to him as the best Minister of National Security. And I also want to commend Commodore Danny Strawn and his team, as we all in the Bahamas has named our national sport as sailing. And it all came and it fall under all of our nations. See, the breath of life is colorless. And we need not go between the white, black, blue, brown, all that, okay? And I do believe that is a precious memory and commemoration to the late celestialized Queen Elizabeth II, who I call she as the declarant, saying that her bedrock of faith is in Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And we have the solutions from 87, from when the late Gerald Augustus Bartlett, commissioner, was forced out of the force, not by the PLP and not by the FNM. We have had an attempt of destabilization from back then. That's why I assured O.V. Pinning on St. Thompson show that his father's name shall be cleared and many nation leaders' names shall be cleared.
Thomas
The
Johnson.
three prime ministers, especially my godly leader number one, former Prime Minister Hubert Alexander Ingram, because that was supposed to have been passed on to him, because we knew he was going to be Prime Minister from 1980, October 20th.
All right, Lady Veronique, let me bring you back. Let me bring you back to some Maritime Matters, please. You mentioned that they drafting legislation pertaining to moving that wreck. Could you?
All the wrecks, because we are the headquarters for all the maritime the flagships, right? So therefore, they ought to come together. That is why I told them about the Canadian, British, and the American prime ministers when they came back out here some years ago.
So
all of that is to be combined.
How are we drafting this law?
For legal, for liabilities and every other format. That is why I said that Minister of National Security, along with the three prime ministers and all other seniors who would recall that information, because we have to have some declassification in certain information. That's why I speak in military jargon.
Right. Now, how are we going
to be comforted to know that there shall be monies to access.
Ms. Veronique,
the history.
How are we going to draft? How are we going to draft that legislation so that it can be enforced? What's going to be in that legislation?
Well, the legislation should be where they become liable, because the main boat builders is the Netherlands, also known as the Hague, Holland, and those people who are building and who are requesting, there has to be financial compensatory and punitive damages claused in whatever has to be passed through the Bahamian waters, and if it's wrecked, there are main areas where you can have those colossal vessels and retrieve those wrecks and probably recycle them along with the Eurasia block and also China. So
thank you so much for that information.
Out there, okay?
Thank you so much for that information, and thank you for always supporting the show, and we'll keep in touch on that.
And also make sure state exactly where on the East Street South where your relative is, so that people can go and support it, so that you can stay on board.
Indeed, my dear. Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling. Take care of yourself. Bye now. Yes, that's my good friend and supporter, Ms. Veronique Johnson, calling for the legislation to be drafted. She's saying that legislation is being drafted to address these wrecks. And we do have a legislation, our receiver of wrecks is currently the port controller. And then there are provisions in there to how to address wrecks, etc., etc. Like she said, compensation, you can charge the owner once you know who it is. Once you move it and you bill the owner, and you got to put them in court. Of course, these things cost, right? So we can see how that pan out. Now back to Atlantis. Atlantis is still on their tack. It's still on their tact to say that the 17 acres that Royal Caribbean wants to develop into a beach house or beach club, it's gonna, that 3,500 people is quite a lot to pack on that 17 acres. I don't know, 17 acres. I didn't even know it was that big. 17 acres is a lot. They got 17 acres left on the western side. Well, I'm sure Mr. Vaughn Roberts, who represents Atlantis, is the Senior Vice President of Government Affairs and Special Projects. He's weighing in on it, and his views are very similar to all the other views we hear coming out of the Atlantis Resort. We're talking now about constructing structures over the water. But of course, RCI say we don't have any intention to construct any type of structure that's going to go over the water or even on the sand. And you're talking about, employing very sophisticated wastewater management system. There's a wastewater management system. That's a system where when you want to go down the face bowl or the dishwasher or any sink, your drainage, toilet, that's wastewater. That's water you don't use. How are you going to manage that so that don't become a problem? So, the question comes to my mind, is Atlantis really trying to play the authorities on this project proposal? I mean, why they got to be digging into this project? And we got authorities who dealing with this. They realize that this giant called RCI or Royal Caribbean International, they're giants compared to Atlantis, eh? One of the ships cost over $3 billion, the value of Atlantis. And they got ship after ship after ship. But that's neither here or there, because if they could have 1,000 times more money than Atlantis, we don't want them doing nothing wrong and messing up our country, right? But they already have a pier, plate number 28, 29, I don't know if they added on another one, at the very extremity of Prince George Wharf, where they have proven that the two largest cruise ships in the world could sit out there. And do you realize that cumulatively those two ships contributes over 12,000 passengers plus 5,000 crew? So over 17,000 persons sitting out there on those two largest ships in the world. And wouldn't those ships need to ensure environmental compliance? And this RCI, this giant, have tens of those very large cruise ships. Eh? They got the 6 largest cruise ships in the world, and then they got a series of other large cruise ships, not the largest, but other large, we got 6 over 200,000 gross tons. And then they're the only 6 in the world, over 200,000 gross tons. Just for information now, I happen to know this. And each one of them facilitates wastewater treatment plants on board. So if you got tens of wastewater management treatment plants on your ships, and you're going to get a property with a beach club, you don't think you already know how to deal with wastewater management? You don't think you already know how to deal with safety? These guys know better than any hotel facility in the world about dealing with safety and pollution prevention. I tell you that. I used to inspect cruise ships. I know what cruise ships got to do. I know what they go through. They have to be inspected. And this beach club facility is not a ship, eh? But it's almost surrounded by water. So these people know how to deal with places that is surrounded by the sea. You go on board a cruise ship have to be inspected. They have to be surveyed at least once a year, eh? by a dame classification society. The purpose of survival is to inspect cruise ships and inspect all the 50,000 plus ships worldwide that are registered to do international trade, including all the cruise ships. They go on board a cruise ship, 3-4 of them, for like a week, just carrying surveys to make sure that those ships comply with safety and pollution prevention. So you're dealing with a company who are the masters in dealing with pollution prevention matters. And you're going to wonder if they're going to have a facilitation to deal with pollution prevention matters on a 17-acre property that's surrounded by water. I don't know why that should even be a concern. But of course, we got our authorities in place to deal with environmental matters, and I'm sure they're going to make sure that the I forgetting what the thing name, the environmental impact assessment, the EIA. Going to make sure that the EIA is in order to ensure that wastewater is not getting into our surrounding to impact our seas, our marine life, or even human beings. So I don't have no doubt that this can happen. I think we all need to desist from the rhetoric and embrace the state-of-the-art beach club, eh? This is going to provide employment opportunities for a litany of local Bahamians. We don't have it now. We want one there. Like I say, let RCI put that there. We want Disney to put one nearby, so when their ship is in Nassau, they can channel their people there, and they can have a couple thousand people off the ship go there, and Bahamians can go there and get work. The jet ski fellas, the powerboat sail, the waiters that's going to be there, to mix the bartenders, to mix drinks, the cooks that are going to do the food, the cleaners that are going to be cleaning everything. You're going to need environmentalists. Well, I don't know if we need no Bahamian environmentalists because that's a little small area, eh? But we need, that's going to provide a lot of employment. So please, let's not nod that too hard. Now, if you're going to provide that kind of employment and say, well, we need to put it there, we can give you this money. No, well, you could put it anywhere. I want Disney to do one. I want Carnival to do one. I want Norwegian Cruise Line to do one. Let all of them do one in this area. And let them go and get their keys and do what they need to do on their keys. Because why? Because we are going to benefit. I remember former Prime Minister, the father of the nation, Right Honorable Lyndon Pillin, back in the day, he said, and I remember very clearly, let them come and build it. Because if they come in our country and build it, they can't move it. So we could be building up our country and they can't move it. Well, of course, we don't want them build it in a way that it's going to be a problem for us. But so long as they meet the requirement, I say, build on. Come on, Carnival. Come on, Disney. Let's get on board, NCL. And let's do it. That's my view on that. Now, we have our former Minister of Tourism, Mr. Dionisio D'Aguilar. He said he supports Royal Caribbean International's $110 million Paradise Island Royal Beach Club project. So this is the Royal Beach Club now. You know how royalty goes. It was like Miss Verity said, you had Queen Elizabeth, now you have King Charles. Finally got his chance, eh? Finally got his chance, boy, because it looked like Queen Elizabeth wasn't trying to bow too quick. So Charlie had to wait a little while, but you still get it, eh? I heard somebody, one of the young people in Britain on BBC was saying that when they were asked what's their view about the royals, say, well, I like the idea of the royals per se, but I just think, they should have bypassed Charles and gone down the line to his son. It don't work that way. It don't work that way. You see what's happening in the US right now? President Biden, he throws his hat out just say, I'm going to run again. He's now the oldest president in history. He's looking for another 4 years when this 4 years finish. You think he could pass it on to somebody because he feel like he up in age? No, man. In these kind of operations, ain't nothing to be passed on because of age. I remember back in the day when I used to play volleyball with the national team. we had some players, especially on the female team, like, I won't call the names, Maggie and them girls who were dominating the Caribbean. And these girls in other Caribbean countries couldn't do nothing with them. Mind you, they had some age and they used to have to rub down with Bengay after every game and all the rest of it. But they were volleyball, they were good. And the argument at that time was, why don't they just step aside and let the young girls get an opportunity? You don't step aside when you're good at something. You want my position? Then you come and do better than me. Because if you can't beat me, why should you be taking my position? They say age is nothing but a number. So, I don't know, going off course a little bit, but what my friend Nahajul Black used to say, I digress, or we digress. So let's get back on track. So here it is. Mr. Diagla said, the deal is good for Bahamians. And he also added that the Davis administration had time to build on the agreement that the Mills administration left behind. So this deal was already dealt with by the previous government. And I don't get into politics and stuff like that, because governments are continuous or supposed to be continuous, right? So if a government leaves something good in place, then why should another government come and take it on? And he goes on to say, any deal that empowers Bahamians, he is fully supportive of. Any attempt to do so, with Bahamians first. FNM and PLP second. So let's empower as many Bahamians as we can. And he says, obviously, we have to assess the environmental concerns, and I agree. You can't just put something there, and you know how you can flush, where the stuff can go when you flush the toilet, like many vessels in the harbor do today. I see I pass our key this week, and when you drive up off Bay Street to go up on the waterhead side to drive down to Fish Fry, there's that long stretch of beach, long off beach. They had about 10 sailboats, little small yachts, just anchored off there. And I know, because I know the boats, right? Those boats don't have no wastewater treatment plants. So when the toilet flush, where do you think that this go? Right under the boat in the water. When they unplug the dishwasher that went in the water, everything they do on that boat, they ain't get no hole in tank. And they ain't got no wastewater treatment plants. So that stuff goes straight in the water. So when you see them boats out there, and you are there swimming, you better be careful how much water you take in your mouth. Because I can tell you, that stuff from all them boats you see there goes straight in the water. Same thing with the marinas in the harbor. Maybe some of the mega yachts or the big, pretty fancy, some of them got little treatment plants, and some of them try to plug into a shoreside disposal to get rid of their wastewater, right? But that ain't common. And I can tell you, most of those yachts you see in like Bayshore Marina and Yacht Haven and most of them, when they flush the toilet again, right in the water, untreated. That's what used to happen when I was on the fence force, eh? When we flush our toilet on them 60 footers, where you think that used to go, or even the 108s? Well, they're the biggest boats we had there. I don't know what they have going on now, and I'm not qualified to speak to that. But I wouldn't be surprised if when they flush those toilets on the defense force boats, they go, oh, the fishing boats are there. Where you think their stuff go when they flush toilets and wash dishes and drink? They go in the sea. So let's not play like just one little project gotta be so squeaky clean, while everybody else messing up the operations when it comes to you see the plant that we have a treatment plant just on Malcolm Park, and a lot of times when you drive into to go on Porter's Key for your crack conch or your Scotch conch or your conch period, you smell a stench. What you think that is? That's a sewage treatment plant because what happened was, a lot of people may not know this, right? But you can't have a cesspit between Bay Street and Shirley Street because the water table is too high. You'll be digging in the water, right? So what they have is a treatment plant that they got big pipelines running underground that everybody's toilet is connected to. So when they flush, it goes into that big pipeline that run along the roadway, and that treatment plant you see out there, I think there are more than one, but that's one for sure. And one right there on Malcolm Road, or Malcolm Park, that is designed to treat the stuff from all those homes and businesses between Shirley Street and Bay Street, along that eastern end, between the two bridges and all the way down, right? Because they say some time ago we actually fill in that, because that used to be C. So we can actually fill that in. So for people to be able to flush toilets and stuff in those areas, they need to tie into the waste management system, those pipelines, and then they treat it. And I don't know what happened after that, but boy, we used to be smelling some stuff when we passed that many times. And I understand that we smelling that like that now because the maintenance ain't all that. We know government don't like maintain things. Like, the government own it. And private, maybe the government need to outsource that. And then whoever they outsource it to, they can manage that to make sure people doing things right. Because you tell the government they got to do this and they got to do that. I mean, you can't do it. Anyway, that's how we rolling, right? So that is the deal. Mr. Diagla is saying, obviously we have to assess the environmental concerns. We have to see whether these pass the muster. What do you mean by pass the muster? Mr. Diagla, you was a military man, eh? Yeah, he talking about mustering up, checking things out and making sure they pass. So there we have it. A former Minister of Tourism claiming that the RCI Beach Club is good for Bahamians. Again, in my view, this one should be a foregone conclusion. We're talking maritime, people. You are listening to Maritime Matters. At this point, we move to our first break. And when we return, we will dive a little deeper into some of what's going on here, eh? So, ladies and gentlemen, just stay tuned.
At One-on-One Pharmacy, our friendly staff is ready to serve you. Visit us today for all your prescription and over-the-counter needs at our East Street South or Charles Saunders Highway locations. We're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from 9 to 4 on Sundays. In a rush? Send your refill scripts online at oneononepharmacy.com or ask about our convenient pickup service. One-on-One Pharmacy, providing personal health care with people at heart. At Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited, we offer first-class maritime security services throughout the Bahamas and the wider Caribbean. As experts in maritime security, we specialize in production of ISPS assessments and plans, verification audits, certified familiarization training, and port security consultancy, just to name a few. Our services also include provision of a security force to maintain all required ISPS facility security compliance. For all your maritime security needs, visit us today in Nassau at our East Street South location or in Freeport in the Kipling Building. Call us at 392-3515 or follow us on all social media platforms. Bahamas Maritime Connection, your leader in maritime security. Let's help you make the connection.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Maritime Matters. We are on a roll here tonight. We got some things going on. Let me just recap a little quick recap. We're talking about Disney, her expansion, well, her and BTVI getting together to expand opportunities in Eleuthera, help prepare and train locals in those areas through BTVI to be able to provide all the services that may be necessary, and you wouldn't have to be looking outside of Eleuthera, outside of the Bahamas, in the broader scheme of things, for those services to be carried out at a quality level, a high quality level that Disney likes to have things done. Atlantis is saying, hey, watch how much people you all put on that PI Beach Club operation now, because we don't want too much people over there. And then I was saying that, these people got 2 cruise ships that carrying 17,000 people on board. Just 2 ships, and sometimes they got 3 in there. And they're going to deal with those people on that ship, which does not cover 17 acres. So why should that be a problem, hey? I think they know what they're doing and they got it covered. And we got the authorities to deal with that. Atlantis crew, they need to just relax a bit. We want you to pick up anything that is out of order now. If you pick up anything, we'll be with you 1,000 times. But, let's pick on these nitty-gritty stuff that all of these boats in the harbor are just violating. Because we think RCI has what it takes to make things happen. I want to look into the opportunities this country have for a full Bahamas itinerary cruise voyage or voyages. We have a lot going on now, eh? We got private islands where those ships go to on a daily basis. They got a ship at their private island location. And we know the big boys. We got Carnival and we were just talking about RCI or RCCL. We used to call them Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. We got Norwegian Cruise Line or NCL. They're the ones who own the next key in Berry Islands called what's that one called? Great Stirrup Key, right? I guess they could put a different name on that eventually. We got Disney with the Disney Key and now the Lighthouse Project. We have Half Moon Key, which is in that same area. We have Princess Key, which is in that area. Lighthouse area, that is. Lighthouse Point, Eleuthera, between Eleuthera and North Cat Island for Half Moon Key. And then we have along the Bimini Strip, right outside of Miami in Fort Lauderdale. We have Resort World Bimini. And they can accommodate any size cruise ship. They're trying to make provisions now so they can take 2 cruise ships at the same time. Because while they have a ship in there, they also have the Valeria, which is a high-speed craft that carry passengers a little freight between Florida and Bimini and Florida and Freeport. Sometimes do round-trip Florida, Bimini, Freeport, Florida. But they could also have that there while the cruise ship is in. So Bimini is doing big things. And we could watch for them to expand. I think they get the opportunity now to be able to take 2 cruise ships if they do a little modification. Take 2 cruise ships at any one time. And I could see that coming. And then we got further down the road, we got MSC, right? And MSC is another big cruise line company that now has their own private island. What used to be Ocean Key. Well, it's still named Ocean Key, but it's their private island. Ocean Key, some time ago, when I used to go there on the Defense Force boats, they were mining aragonite. And that's a whole topic for another show. They were mining aragonite for decades. And they got an opportunity to sell that key to a company that was dealing with trying to convert not natural gas, but not propane, what is one I think LNG, liquefied natural gas. So trying to convert that to vapor, to send it through pipeline to Florida so they could use it in their homes and their businesses and whatnot. But of course that didn't happen. I think the regulations didn't come out in time or something went wrong. But the key was owned by AES. That was the name of the company. And they wanted to have a regasification plan there where the ship would come in and they would pump the stuff from the key by pipeline and vapor. Okay, we got a call on line 1. Call, I'll be with you 1 second. So after AES owned it for a couple of years, making preparation to take, and they did a lot of things. I can tell you because I used to be on the keyboard. I was involved in that to some extent, not money wise, but to some extent. And after that, the cruise ship bought it. Well, some locals bought it first because they wanted to try to get that Aragonite mine going again. That didn't happen. And then the cruise ship bought it, and now the cruise ship has converted it to their private island. And I can tell you, I've never been there since they converted it, boy, but I would like to see it because I'm sure it's carrying on, eh? These cruise ships don't go easy. They go hard when they go in these kind of things. Good night, caller. You're on Maritime Matters. Thank you for calling.
Good night, Captain. How are you doing?
Top shape and getting better, my friend. How are you?
All right. I think you're familiar with the word, it's islands.
Islands? Which one of the islands?
The junior islands.
Yeah, it's you and your brother. Yeah, go ahead, man. What's happening? I see you for what?
Yes, sir. This, I was talking about, I don't know if you remember back in, in early 2000s.
Yeah.
A company called Tanja 20. A company called Tanja Maritime.
Yeah, that's my mentor, Captain Jackson Ritchie, and his wife Tanya. Yeah, I know when Tanya was created. When Tanja was created. Yeah, I know.
That's right. And he got in, politics and that after that.
Yes.
Man, he had a vision. Whereas if he had gotten in, he would have implemented a port or cruise port on all these islands in the Bahamas.
Well, that's exactly what I am pushing for, and that's
exactly.
We have no reason why that shouldn't happen.
That's right. And Bahamian owned. You understand?
Yeah, the government, the thing, what I was saying in my last show, caller, is the government needs to stop allowing these cruise ships to take the lead.
That's right.
Ain't nothing wrong with them doing what they're doing, We want them to do what they're doing. But we need to put some port facilities in place so that a cruise ship can make 5 or 6 stops in the Bahamas before they even come out and go right back to the States. Because every island in the Bahamas, if you look at the Eastern Caribbean, right?
Yes, sir.
You got those countries like Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Barbados. Most of those countries are smaller than our family islands.
That's right.
So the Bahamas itself could be deemed tantamount size and ability-wise to the entire Eastern Caribbean. And cruise ships go to the Eastern Caribbean.
Agency. I'm a manager at the agency, right?
Right.
And the tourists were coming to NASA every day. They aren't really into, like, it's too Americanized for them. Everyone says it. You understand?
Yeah, they only come to NASA
experience.
They come to NASA because they don't have any other option run. That's why we got to develop. That's why the government got to convert. The first one we need to do is the one that's easy. Morgan's Bluff.
Exactly.
There's no reason why we can't convert Morgan's Bluff to a cruise ship facility because it's so easy. The dock is already there. The water's already dredged. Man, you do a little bit more dredging so you can make a big turning basin on the inside. And extend the dock.
That's all they need to do.
That's all they need. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
Because we used to go in there for water all the time. That's deep water.
Very deep water there.
So the government is going to probably wait until a cruise ship company approached them about, can we lease Morgan's Bluff so we can have our own cruise ship pier, something like how Lighthouse Point is? No, we don't need that. We need the government to develop that so any cruise ship could go there.
Exactly.
So
anyone.
So when are we going to do that?
Well, everyone who gets in talk, but they say they want to be in it, but when they get in and see what's available to them, they all but they said.
Well, I agree with you, caller, and the thing is, we got so much opportunity. I was looking at, you can look at the whole Bahamas, right? You got Morgan's Bluff that's ready to go, basically. You got to do minimum amount of work to get it to be a cruise ship stop. You have places like, because I was flying over Maguana yesterday. I was in Inago for a couple of days, and then we flew coming to Nassau. We had to stop in Maguana to pick up a couple of people, and then we keep coming.
Yes, sir.
And I can tell you that when I crossed the western side of Maguana to head to the airport, I saw the ocean touches almost every piece of that western coastline of Maguana.
Right. Every piece of that.
So you could use any point on that and put a jetty going out, that could facilitate 2 cruise ships with ease.
But listen to this. Departure tax.
Yeah.
I think the government need to be more accountable. You know what I'm saying? Because where all this money going?
Well, the problem,
development and all of that type of stuff. That's a lot of money, you know.
But I want you to know that the departure tax funds are well accounted for. But they go in the treasury. They ain't in a special fund. Just like all the VAT money goes straight in the treasury. Everything is going to treasury. That's the problem in our country.
They do it like that. Like how the national insurance is almost depleted.
Yeah, we know why.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, national insurance is almost depleted because we was using that money to do other things with. Bernard and I know what happened. We lost you. Please do call back. We need to finish our discussion. I don't know why the phone got disconnected. It could have been your... Okay, this is coming back. Hello, Brother Allen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't know what went wrong, my brother, but yeah.
It's probably BTC or something.
they don't want the people to hear what you have to say. Go ahead, my brother.
I think you were saying something about
NIB funds.
Well covered for?
Yes, well accounted for, but it goes straight into the treasury. So once it goes there, they ain't accounted for no more.
But with NIB, that ain't accounted for.
Well, I'm sure they have a system of accountability, but like government in general, that domain is it's where it need to be. But I feel comfortable enough to know that we are accounting for the funds that are collected through those agencies. It's just that when they get in the treasury, but we don't have a system. Again, the government will use whatever's in the treasury because they have the power to do it.
And that's why we need some type of system of checks and balances and accountability. If you use $10 million, you have to say you use $10 million for.
Well, I was thinking, well, I mean, they give out contracts left, right, and center, right? That's what they do. That's what we hire them to do. But I was thinking that when, and I remember when VAT was coming in, they were bringing VAT in, and my thing was, look, we bringing in VAT to cut down on the deficit that this country have, right?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. So why don't we just take a percentage of that VAT money, whether it be 10% or 30% or whatever, and put it in a separate fund once it reach the treasury, take it out and put it in a separate fund that we say we putting this against our debt. The country's debt.
That's what I'm saying.
But the government don't want to do that. The government don't want to do that. They don't want to do that because they want to have money in the treasury to
cut it down.
Yeah, but they don't want to do that while they're in power because as far as they're concerned, I want to build some roads, I want to put some new stuff here, I want to do something with the school. They will find a way to spend that money. Yeah, they ain't going to do that, you know. And while they're doing that, they still borrowing more money.
Correct.
And I'm not talking about the government of the day.
No,
I am talking about going back 50 plus years.
Executive.
All the way back, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but you know, we got to do our part. I'm just trying to push for Maritime. But like you say, I'd like to see the Bahamas as a destination for an entire cruise. What it is, you only got to pick 4 or 5 islands, but we want docks, we want government to have port facilities for cruise ships on every single major island in this country.
Exactly.
That's what I want to see.
What do you think about lightering?
Well, lightering is going on all the time here in the Bahamas, you know.
But I know only a certain group of people does it, or allowed to do it.
Yeah, we have a situation with lightering where a group of people decided to go off and get certified. Well, first of all, they want you to be, either you be a pilot or you got to have a pilot to be a part of the lightering operation. And they have various courses, not in the Bahamas, of course, in Fort Lauderdale, that you can go and do, but of course, you need to know about ship handling first, eh?
Yes, sir. I think there's only 3 or 4 organizations right now in the Bahamas that actually conduct lightering.
Yeah, they are
allowed to conduct lightering.
Yes, but I don't think there's any restriction on anybody else going into it. I'm sure if I want to go into it, and I want to go and certify myself, I don't see no reason why if I certify myself, I can't, because I'm a pilot.
Exactly.
You know, so I don't know if there's an issue with that as such, or it's just that those were the people who went ahead and got certified in it. I don't think nobody's stopping anybody else from doing this. What I'm saying.
Do you disagree there?
Well, they got people who stopping other people from doing pilot, and by virtue
There's a
of,
lot of certified people, like you say, pilot and all that.
yeah, but it's a lot of manipulation
And
going
a
on.
lot of, people who have the safety and all of that, training and all of that, SCW,
Yeah, so look-
license and all of that type of stuff. Where so you put them to the they know what's going on, put them kind of ship the ship service. You understand?
Yeah.
Once the connection, then you avoid the spillage and all of that.
But you know, we got a lot of manipulation in this country when it comes to those type of jobs, and we got a lot of wicked people.
That's right.
So
Absolutely correct.
you ain't gotta preach to me, because you know that's like preaching to the choir.
Yes, sir.
I have been a victim of many things in this country.
Yes, sir. There's a lot of people of victimization, man.
Yeah, so
So you know around here.
it's a good thing my family make up strong stuff. Otherwise, I'd probably give up.
Same way.
Indeed, my brother. Because I thank you so much for calling, man, and continue to listen to Maritime Matters. And, and
I listen every time you come on, buddy.
I appreciate that. Feel free to make your contribution at any time, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, General Allen. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Right. And that's the kind of call we need. People who's going to make contribution as far as how are we going to better this country. We just talk about opportunities to make the Bahamas a variety of destinations for a cruise ship, and not no private island. You know, where we got people who the cruise ship just pull in like they do at Prince George Wharf. Prince George Wharf is the only facility in the entire country that is owned by the government for cruise ships. They got about 10 cruise ship facilities in this country, and government only own one. What that tell you? That tell you that, it tell me anyway, that the cruise ships are leading the government in doing this thing, as opposed to the government being the leaders and making provisions for cruise ships to use so that the government and the people in the country could make some money. You want to repeat Prince George Wharf on all islands of the Bahamas, where you possibly can put a dock that you don't have to do much dredging, where a cruise ship can just come in, and every island in this country have a piece of ocean brushing up against it, eh? And that's all you need. Because once you put that dock there, your community will follow the dock. If they know that a cruise ship with 4,000 or 5,000 passengers are going to be calling on that dock, you don't think they go start building houses around there, putting up little restaurants, little bars, doing little tours? All that will happen. You put the dock and you'll watch it happen. And you think Nassau get built up around Prince George Wharf? You think it's by chance Bay Street is named Bay Street? No, that's the bay for where the ships coming in. And when cruise ships came around, people who own land in that area, the price of those land went skyrocketing. You put $1 billion in, you rent that, you're getting big time money. The same thing can happen on all islands. Because a cruise ship that is visiting Nassau, that same cruise ship with those same 4,500 passengers are going to visit a family island or another family island or a series of family islands. And that same cruise ship, every port they're going to have different sets of people wanting to come off, because people have different interests. They don't need no fancy restaurant. Some of them just want to come off and go on the beach where they know ain't much people, so they might want, be bareback. Boy, Mama Damn, I've been at a beach in France. The beach in France. Someone on line one. Line one, I see you holding for a second there. I will be with you shortly. Anyway, let me come to you so I can talk about France after that. Because I was only 18 when I was in France. And if I tell you what I saw, caller on line one, you on Maritime Matters. Thank you so much for calling, my friend.
Captain, I hope all is well with you.
Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson, Mr. Thompson, you let me down, man. When I was talking about the Constitution,
Why you call me?
I was talking about the Constitution. I wanted your views so bad.
But I was, remember when I spoke to you got to be more than one.
No, but you'd want my guest number, Chris Culmer from Freeport, who was waiting. We was talking about limestone and stuff. You'd want his number.
Yes, I did.
But you didn't know my number.
Wait a minute now, stop that.
Okay, Brother Thompson. I know the voice very well. That's why I could just pick you up. You can hide.
I agree with the idea about going to the different family islands with cruises and that sort of thing, because we are one nation, but we have many different destinations, and those family islands are extremely unique. You're going to find that the various settlements are very unique.
That's right.
Not even working on it. See, I live right here in Fortson Castle.
Okay.
Fortson Castle has a unique set of circumstances. Mason's Division has a unique set of circumstances. Centerville, across the road, there has unique circumstances. Then you go Sunlight Village, Sunlight Cottage. See that big church down there?
Yes, sir.
We are not developing the Commonwealth of the Bahamas according to the unique features that exist in these areas where, see, we got to make some money. I agree with you, we got to make plenty of money.
Indeed.
But the government of the Bahamas, the question is the government of the Bahamas operating according to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? That's the big question.
Yes, sir.
Captain, I can assure you, you're going to see some things revealed very shortly.
Yes, sir.
That are going to cause your hair to stand on end.
I hope they're good things.
No. Some things, as well as I know that Constitution, some other things that are statute laws which were passed just shortly after the Constitution came into effect.
Right.
I did not even know until it just had to be less than 6 weeks ago.
Wow, and you're the guru and you didn't know.
I found out some crap that the government of the Bahamas has done to the Bahamian people from its inception.
Wow.
There's been 50 years straight across the board.
Wow.
When you get to hear the facts on that, you're going to know the type and quality of people that was governing our national affairs, where the people trusted them, appointed personalities, elected personalities, who have done some terrible things to hold back the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
So, Mr. Thompson, you think they can let us know?
We don't know.
Wow. So it's really going to be exposed.
Don't worry about that. It will be exposed. The Bahamian people are going to be very shocked at the quality of governance that we have received over 50 years. And let me tell you this while I'm online. The Bahamian people just woke up since the Queen had passed, September the 8th last year.
Right.
They are now clamoring to come to understand this document called the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And everywhere I go, they all want to talk about Constitution.
Right.
Want nothing else but Constitution.
But you know you're the man for that.
But that's true. And I also know that the awareness of the Bahamian people is so strong now.
That's right. We want to know.
All kind of funny things happening where these people are trying to divert your attention away from the real issues while they're doing some very terrible things undercover.
Right.
Because you wouldn't notice it because you're distracted.
Boy, we got
when it comes to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, that stands. And Bahamians are beginning to realize they've been hoodwinked, lied to, defamed by personalities who have been elected, one, who have been appointed, two, over the last 50 years.
Right. So we got some people in lockup. We got some people in lockup, Mr. Thompson.
Well, a little deeper than
based on what you're saying, I'm getting that impression.
It's more than lockup.
Wow.
There's a serious charge that have to be raised by the Bahamian people. Extremely serious. Do you know how many people have lived and died hoping for a better country?
Oh, yeah.
And they never saw it in their lives. Their children are here, their grandchildren are here, their great-grandchildren are here. I got a great-grandniece, man.
I always hear Mr. Graham Weatherford say we got to fix this country.
No, we got to fix it.
Yes, sir.
When those facts get out to the Bahamian people, they're going to be so angry and hostile, and I don't blame them, because some people are going to be held responsible for the severe damage that has been done to this country over 50 years.
Right.
It is very, very serious.
So we have a situation where some things were done for certain families to get utmost benefit, while others on the backs of the suffering of others. Is that the type of thing?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. And so you know who they are. You know.
Wow.
They can be easily identified.
Okay.
The record is there.
Well, Mr. Thompson, I'm listening to you because, you know, I hear you all the time, and I appreciate your contributions to most shows, and especially when you talk about the Constitution, because I have come to learn some things about the Constitution without even reading the entire document, although I have it. Yeah. But, you know, that ain't no maritime area. I'm a maritime man, so I try sticking my neck to roots.
I heard you talk about the islands and how we can be, in fact, we can be a Caribbean destination.
We could be an entire, we got more
than the entire Caribbean.
Yes, we do, and we got better beaches than all of them.
Yeah, but I can leave the maritime side to you because you have more experience in that.
I appreciate that. And thank you so much for calling.
Let me just make this last point.
Go right ahead.
I've been saying to the Bahamian people, Article 24.1 of the Constitution, I've been quoting that over many years. That very last phrase in there, where we paid no attention to it, well, they said they didn't know it, so we got to forgive them of that. I've been saying that for almost 50 years.
That's Article 24.1?
24.1 of the Constitution, the very last phrase, and people keep talking nonsense about it, there's nothing they could do.
Yeah.
The Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas empowers you to deal with any government that steps out of line, any MP that steps out of line, any minister that steps out of line.
Right.
Because we have had a lot of crap going on in this country, and we have the documented hardcore evidence to prove it.
But is that through protest? If I could just quickly ask, would that be through protest, or is there another mechanism other than protest? Because, you know, we got Mr. Lincoln Bain been trying to protest for a while, and I don't think our people trying to galvanize and move into that area to put enough pressure on certain situations.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yes, sir.
There is more than one way to skin a cat.
Indeed.
I'm going to tell you that. Because I always tell people all the time, that's why you have your Constitution.
Right. You always
this is the supreme law of the land. You watch what your government is doing, and when they step out of line, you jump on it right away.
But Mr.
So I can let them go through their celebrations. Yeah. July the 11th,
right.
12 a.m., it'll be a different ball game.
Well, I depend on you to make that happen, son. If you need my assistance in any kind of way to make things move forward in this country, I am here for you, my friend.
I have warned the Bahamian people we're going to have to call on them because this is a national issue. The Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas never allows any one particular personality to take on a national, even a constituency issue by himself or herself.
Wow.
It's wrong. You never do that. I had to wait 50 years for the Bahamian people to wake up.
I with you. All right, sir. Well, I look forward to that.
Yeah, well, you'll be hearing more about it.
And again, I thank you so much for your contributions, as always, to our show, and continue to take care and continue to fight a good fight.
I will certainly do that, and thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Thompson, take care.
Yeah, okay, right.
Yes, boy, I tell you, I'm going to be looking and watching from my maritime perspective, but there's so much that can be done. From a maritime perspective, this country is so far behind based on meeting our potential as a maritime destination for visiting cruise ships. Well, visiting ships in general, but cruise ships, because we got the most beautiful beaches in the entire. I've been all over the Caribbean, and I can tell you, we got hundreds of beaches that are better than any one of those countries in the Caribbean, bar none. When you look at all of our islands and all of our beaches. You nobody need to tell me nothing because I haven't been to all of them. I've been all around them. And none of them can stand up to what we got to offer in the Bahamas. So if you could have a full itinerary on a cruise ship to leave San Juan, Puerto Rico, because I did this before, way back in the day, and go to the Eastern Caribbean and do an entire 7-stop cruise on different countries. Our islands are bigger than most of those countries. So why is it that you can't do 7 stops on 7 of our Bahama islands, and each island offering a unique experience? Where's Ministry of Tourism? Why can't we see this? And before time run around me, let me name the ones that I know are low-hanging fruits. As my good friend always tell me, say, but Glenn, you got to get the low-hanging fruits. And there are low-hanging fruits, but nobody won't get them, right, Rebecca? My good friend Rebecca always tell me, let's go for the low-hanging fruits. Devil's Point, Cat Island, sitting right on the edge of the ocean. That can very readily be developed to build an abutment or pier or jetting into the ocean and doing very minimal dredging for cruise ship or cruise ships to have daily visits. Landrail Point, Crooked Island, right off the ocean. No need to do much work. Just build a dock that could go in, and that dock will almost be floating in the ocean. And then you could have cruise ships stopping the Landrail Point. You can imagine one cruise ship with 4,000 passengers stopping the Landrail Point every day. You know how much Crooked Island people would be inclined to go back home to be a part of that? Why do you think it's so long to see this? Selena Point Aucklands. 2 sides. And the ocean hug that right up. All you need is a dock, jetty, and out. Machu Town, right near where the lighthouse is, or even near the basin. You only need that ship to come to dock where you can tie up that ship without touching the bottom. And the ship would clear, and you would have your very small required arrangement for ISPS for security to make sure that backflow of that ship, people are being properly screened and all the rest. And that don't take much at all because you don't need no buildings. Just the way they do everywhere else. And we could go on and on and on. Because we got a big country. We got big islands with beautiful beaches. And we even got caves on some of our beaches. We could do all kinds of water tours. Fly fishing. Bone fishing, broad shad fishing. My good friend Marlon tell me he can't catch broad shad. Boy, Marlon, anyway, you sound this man. Ladies and gentlemen, we're fresh out of time. I didn't get to my USS Nimitz. I guarantee you we can talk about Nimitz next week because there's a lot to talk about those nuclear ships. We dealt local today. We dealt local, oh gee boy, but next week I don't know. Next week we gotta go into the HMBS Flamingo because that is gonna be our month. To bring the highlight on the Flamingo, because the Flamingo is an incident that we need the government, any government of today, to take seriously. It's been too long. So, my sponsors again for the night. Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited. We give you the full slate of ISPS services. And of course, One-on-One Pharmacy. Hit them up, oneononepharmacy.com. They got a website. And they got a new location in Freeport now. Island Care. Just opposite Scotia Bank and them in that area. Please do go in, see what they got. They got a lot of goodness there for you. And that's how we roll. My producer for the night again, Mr. Craig Gibson, and he's been with me every step of the way. Thank you very much, Craig. And to all my callers, I thank you so much. You keep the show going. You make me feel like I ain't talking to myself, but you all don't know how this being here sometimes. But all the listeners, thank you so much for continuing to listen. It's going to get better all the time, I can assure you. And with that, oh my good Annie Mae, I didn't hail you, I hail you when you first start, but I can hail you again. I will make sure Margot taking good care of you tonight. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we say Maritime Matters out.
look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on that dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock of